What's going on YouTube? Cloud Envy here, and I'm back for another season of the BRL, that's the Breedable Royale League, and I am just so excited. I'm not gonna lie. I'm so excited. Yeah. So it's been a while since we did any league play, since last season actually. And anybody who isn't familiar with it, we had 120 points to work with. Megas are optional, Gmax is banned for very good reasons. It's a stupid mechanic. But we had 10th pick overall, which means we had very close to the back end of the wheel. Kind of sucked, but we made do. We had 4 transactions done at the end of the draft. There was a 24-hour gracing period to just swap anything out you weren't happy with. And I'm going to cover those at the end, because if I don't, it's going to get real confusing. So, let's jump into it. Let's get this settled, I've recorded this 5 times already because my computer keeps messing up. But, okay. So, our hypothetical first pick is going to be Clamps the Scizor. Let's move this up a little bit. Clamps the Scizor, because, do I even need to tell you why Scizor's good here? Initially, I wanted to pick Mega Venusaur first, and then it got sniped. So I was like, okay, Mega Scizor, and then it got sniped. So we picked our initial first pick, which doesn't matter anymore. And on the back end of the wheel, we went with regular Scizor because it has Technician, it has Defog, it has Roost. Where's my buttons? It has these stats and one big weakness in fire, but that's really it. So Scizor kind of just speaks for itself, Great offensive mon. It's got solid utility. Honestly, it's just good. So we're gonna keep this flowing. Again, I've done this so many times. So our next mon is Chieftain the Arcanine. Another very good mon. Definitely deserved 3rd pick in at least our draft. I can't remember what it was overall. I'm not going to keep track of that. But ability-wise, it has Intimidate, which is going to be really good for defensive, Flash Fire to be immune to fire, and Justify just to predict that nice knockoff spam. It kind of evens out for losing whatever item we have just for the attack buff, especially with the priority and extreme speed. It's got so many good things. Flare Blitz as well. There's Crunch. You have coverage in Wild Charge. I don't even know if I was spelling half of these right. I'm just hype, honestly. But Arcanine is a really solid mon. It even has a little extra special prowess to it. Dragon Breath isn't new. There's still Heat Wave, Flamethrower, all that fun stuff, blah, blah, blah. But Scorching Sands is what I'm looking at. Scorching Sands is going to be a lot of fun. I think we can make some pretty good use. Don't look at that. Use of that in the future. But those stats, though. Arcanine has oh my god, above average attack, nice and average special attack, a little below average speed, but 95 isn't terrible for all the things this thing can do, and I'm really not upset about that. At this point, I really want to try to balance things out, so we're going to continue on with our Firewater Grass Court and go into Nidaria Rex. Oh, the jet! Look at this! Look at this HP and this Spadef, and don't look at that defense. But Nidaria Rex is going to continue our pattern of immunities with Water Absorb. It also has Cursed Body, which isn't super great, as right there with Damp. The draft format isn't really something you want to be blowing up on, but I've done it, so I can't count it out from anybody else. It also has a very wide range of attacks. We've got Destiny Bond. I know 60 isn't super fast, but it's still fast enough to outspeed some tanks that could do it in. And a tank for a tank is a trade I'll make. So there's Destiny Bond, there's Energy Ball, there's Giga Drain for some Healy damage. Hex if you want to run the Willow sub route. We also have Ice Beam, Magic Coat for some predicted, status moves. Nightshade if you just want to get off some set damage and you're not going super aggressive. We got Psychic, Recover if Strength Tap isn't going to do the job that week. Scald, Shadow Ball, Sludge Bomb, Sludge Wave, Strength Tap if they are physically offensive. Sub, Taunt to predict some status moves. And it's all around just a pretty solid mon. Even Water Spout if you want to take the Dark Horse Scarf route. So I think Nidaria Rex is going to be really happy with us here. I know I'm happy with it. So we're gonna take a break now from the past 3 potentially very defensive mons and just go for some straight dedicated aggression and stabby the Mega Beedrill. I love this thing. I drafted Mega Beedrill so many times, and it broke my heart last season to get rid of it. Because we did have to drop it. It just didn't work on the team. And Mega Ampharos did a way better job. But Mega Beedrill is going to be here with that nice adaptability, that nice 150 attack, 145 defense. These other stats, they're not even important. They don't matter. Anything Beedrill's not going to one-hit KO is going to two-hit KO. And anything can't two-hit KO, they're either immune or quad resisted to. Even with its shallow move pool, Mega Beedrill still has great things like Poison Jab, it's got U-Turn, it has X-Scissor, it has, you know what, Fell Stinger. That's a real option with 150 base special attack and, 150 base physical attack and adaptability. Past that, we still have coverage and drill run, and we have knockoff as well. Status moves, we're not going to be using them a lot, but they exist. There's Toxic Spikes, there's Roost, there's Defog. I will never bring Defog Beedrill. It's almost never going to happen. But point being is, I love this thing. Even if you want to be cheeky, if they have Rocks up and you switch in down to 1% health, because let's be honest, why wouldn't you put your HP to that point? You can Endeavor and bring a tank down to 1 and then just, you know, let Beedrill die and sweep in with something else. Why do you get Outrage? When did that happen? Okay, so Beedrill has Outrage. I just never noticed that. But yeah, I've got a lot of faith in this thing. Even Aerial Ace, not something you necessarily want to use, but it's flying coverage. It exists. It's there. So past Beedrill, I'm sorry, I'm still looking. I love this thing. Past Beedrill, we have Zappy Tushy the Raichu. I let my friend Crystal name it because she's the one that recommended it, and at the point, like, everyone was taking fast electric mons, and with legendaries being banned, you really gotta grab what you can when you can. Jolteon had already gone, but to be honest, I love Raichu. It's immune, it gives us an electric immunity, which is great, without having to have grounded mon. Oh god, what happened to my voice there? Stats aren't amazing, but it's very balanced in attack and special attack, both being at 90, and that above average speed at 110. I don't know how I feel about having Arcanine jump from 95 into Raichu at 110, but you know what, we're going to work with it, we're going to deal with it. Because Raichu, I'm sorry, I'm so used to drafting Zapdos, and I'm just not okay here. Raichu has a lot of really fun physical moves. How do I spell words? So it has priority in, by itself, just extreme speed and fake out. We do also have Focus Punch if you want to go self-focus punch, but that's not really something we do with Raichu. There's Iron Tail, we can knock off spam with Beedrill and Scizor. Nuzzle if you want to give your T-Wave some extra oomph. There's Fairy Covers and Foul Play. Nope, that's Play Rough. Fairy Covers and Play Rough. And even options with Thunder Punch, Volt Tackle, and Wild Charge, depending on how much damage you want to do and how risky you're feeling. As for its special moves, there's not a whole lot to choose from. I'm the useful ones anyway. There's Draining Kiss if you want that recovery, Electro Ball if you're really going for speed, and Grass Knot if you're trying to take down a solid tank. You also have Rising Voltage if they're spamming terrain, but that's not something I'm going to be doing. Mostly just, you know, in case someone else is going to do it, which I don't see a whole lot of teams being able to, effectively at least. And Thunderbolt as well. Status, Raichu really doesn't have a whole lot. There's Agility, we can set up the electric terrain, but that really just wastes a move. Magnet Rise, which I have made use for in the past, but mostly on much tankier mons. Yeah, it can dual screen, but again, much tankier mons. Raichu's really just going to be here to, every once in a while, maybe Wish Pass, but mostly just be aggressive and get some pivots going. Past Raichu, we have another one of my most favorite mons in Ragamuffin the Tangela. I love this thing so much. So much. Yeah, I understand it's the poor man's Tangrowth, but that defense with an Eviolite makes it potentially tankier. I mean, don't look at this. This def and speed, we don't pay attention to that. We don't pay attention to attack. It's just the defense here. The average level of special attack in a basic mon that also has an Eviolite is just, Tangela is a very good mon. I've used it many times in the past. Not a whole lot of offensive prowess, unfortunately, even with that base 100 attack. I'm sorry, special attack. But there's Giga Drain, there's Ancient Power for coverage, Sludge Bomb. There's also Infestation if you want to rock that Leech Seed Toxic Trapper life, and Leaf Storm if you really want to give it a good punch. But more times than not, Tangle is going to be running something like Amnesia. Kind of makes it stupid, but it's a little bit of a waste depending. Leech Seed really puts a timer on tanks. There's Morning Sun for heals. There's Synthesis for heals. It also has Sleep Powder, Stun Sport, and Toxic, but everything gets Toxic. But I really want to point out Worry Seed and where is it? Power Swap. Worry Seed has saved me too many times, just knocking out an ability easy. And Power Swap Leaf Storm is such a strong combo if you can make the right prediction. I've had my life saved because of fire coverage so many times, because throwing out a Leaf Storm and then making the right prediction on a Power Swap into like an Electros. Yes. All of my yes. But after Tangler, we're going to jump right into Sledgehog the Sand Slash. A nice 5-point mono ground type. Honestly, not a terrible mon. Not terrible for its value. I can't really make use of the abilities here. I don't have sand setters, and even going out of my way to set up sand is going to hurt too much for the rest of the team. But it's going to be really good against other teams that can use it. The majority of the reason I picked up Sand Slash is looking at my team, I am not good with hazards. I don't set up a lot, and I can't remove a lot. So Sand Slash was kind of had to be prioritized. Unfortunately, I didn't realize that Donphan was also free at the time, but it kind of helped me out later, and I'll explain why when we get there. Sand Slash got some really fun stuff in these recent updates. Like, those stats, the special stats are pretty bad. 65 base speed isn't great, but when you factor in the speed boost from, let's be honest, the Rapid Spin is going to run most times, it makes that attack and defense, it's primarily the attack, a little more bearable, I should say. Because yeah, it has strong moves in Edgequake, but it also has a lot of really fun coverage as well. Specifically, it gives us another knockoff spammer, which, don't look at that, which is going to be really useful considering knockoff is a very, very powerful and valuable attack in the League format. We also have access to Iron Tail, which is good, Gyro Ball if we want to be relaxed 1 week, but primarily the Leech Life. Sand Slash now has access to Recovery, which is going to be so powerful, especially since it's super effective against those nasty defensive Dark types and those quick Psychic types. Past that, there really isn't a lot different. It still has coverage and Poison Jab, and we still have access to the Seismic Toss, obviously not in combination with certain other moves. It can be really useful. It can be really useful, especially if someone's spamming terrain. We have Steel Roller and Throat Chop for those nasty Hyper Voice mons. So I think Sand Slash is going to do some good work here. I've said his name too much, now I feel weird. So we're going to move on into the transaction window. Our first pick was Clefable. And okay, don't judge me. Don't judge me. I dropped it. Look, I have no practice with Clefable. None whatsoever. It's a great mon. I'm not going to argue that. But it's just not for me. You know, I'd much rather move into something like Frank, the God of War, who I have very extensive practice with. I'm very comfortable with. I know what it can do and I know what it does. Especially just looking back on last season, the amount of work that God of War put into that team. Not even by just being a cleric, just by being A Spexmon, B a Scarfmon, C an Assault Vest user. God of War was disgusting. Even past all of that, we made great use of things like Memento. It helped us set up for a nice sweep. We made use of other things like Imprison, because why would you let your opponent cleric move? Like, if you have a mon that can imprison, and you can give it Moonblast and Wish, why would you not just decide to put down a Sylveon or a Florges? Past that, it has access to Synchronize and Trace, which are both very strong abilities in this format. I think God of War is very fair for the point base that it is, but I couldn't pass up having it. And I really hope I can reflect how well it did last season with this one. Especially being able to finish off with Fairy Dragon Steel Core with Cookie the Komodo. It was Flygon. We used the extra points we picked up from swapping Clef for Guard to swap Flygon for Komodo, which is really going to solidify us in that very aggressive Scizor God of War Komodo trifecta. This is another one of those mons where I feel like I really don't need to emphasize why it's good. Bulletproof, Soundproof, and Overcoat are all moderately good abilities depending on the matchup, but at the same time, the three of them combined are going to be good almost every week, especially with how common moves like Shadow Ball, Sludge Bomb, even Bullet Seed are. Past that blocks out Soundproof, so no Hyper Voice, no undrafted Mech God of War, so that's going to be much less of a threat. But still, Overcoat, goodbye sand damage, we're fine. I'm losing my voice. But those stats really speak for themselves. Como also has a lot of non-offensive capabilities. Why would I do that? It gave us another rocker, which is great, not something I'm going to be using a whole lot, especially when you take into account that it has things like Autotomize, Belly Drum. I don't think I can use Clangorous Scales, I have to double check that. But there's also Dragon Dance, there's Iron Defense for the buff, there's Double Roar for the debuff. You can also roar to push people out after setting up rocks. There's Rock Polish if you don't want to drop your weight for some reason. Now, Como, oh, it has Taunt. We have so many Taunt users on this team, I didn't even realize it. But Como was a super solid mon. I really liked it in ladder. I liked it in gameplay. This is my first time using it in draft, so we're really gonna hope it gets there. I'm gonna put a lot of work into this mon. Clangorous Soul was the move I was thinking of. I think I said Scales by accident. That's viable. That's a real thing. Moving on from there, our very last pick of the draft was Hawlucha. Hawlucha's a great mon, but since I don't set up terrains, I can't make the appropriate use of it. And I felt like having it on the team was just taking up space for other things that could be prioritized. So we did drop our 17-point Hawlucha. I know, I saved 17 points for the end of the draft. I prefer NU and RU for laddering, so I'm more comfortable with the cheaper mons. But that did allow us to drop Hawlucha and pick up Judge Doom, the Minior. If you don't get that reference, I'm gonna show you real quick. You ready? You ready? Exactly. Anyone who's seen Roger Rabbit knows this reference. So Minior is actually let me swap him out real fast. Minior is a really fun mon. It does have shields down, which means that at any point between 51 and 100% HP, it's going to be its little rock boy. And its stats are going to be this. Can't be status affected, and it's, you know, virtually pretty defensive. Nice and rock flying type. It has access to, again, another stealth rock user. Also gives us access to things like Calm Mind, Cosmic Power, Gravity, Magnet Rise for whatever reason. I don't know why you have that. That's pointless. Shell Smash. And honestly, Substitute with shields down is a lot of fun. But past that, anything below 51% HP, Minior is going to be this little guy. His stats are going to be this, so they completely swap. But it does have a lot of offensive access. There's Dazzling Gleam. There's nice stab, ancient power that could give an Omni boost. Charge Beam, Power Gem, Psychic. Not a whole lot of special. Physical is, in my opinion, better. Especially in Acrobatics, Earthquake, there's Explosion if you want to give a little pop. Iron Head, Rock Slide, Stone Edge. Do you have Earthquake? You do have Earthquake. Yeah, you have access to Edgequake. That's dumb with Shell Smash. U-Turn and Zen Headbutt. Honestly, for 7 points, I feel like Minior was a little underrated. And I really hope we can make use of that. It's basically just mind games the mon, and I love it. I absolutely love it, because that's the whole point of the draft format. Out-prep your opponent and vice versa. But with those 10 extra points we saved from picking up Minior, we were able to upgrade our little Frogadier to Mr. McCroak. Ooh, I love Greninja. I love Greninja so much. It was one of the very first mons I drafted back in my OG Fire, Water, Grass core, being Greninja, Celebi, and Infernape. I think that was like 5-6 years ago, something like that. But we cannot use Protean, which makes Frogadier hit a little harder, but Greninja moves way faster. And I really like having that 122 base speed sit between Raichu and Beedrill. I feel like I don't need to go into why Greninja is good, but we should just for people who might not be familiar. So even without Protean, it still has 103 base special attack and 95 base attack, which is terrible, and access to things like Dark Balls for the stabs, got Grass Knot for the coverage, Hydro Pump for more stab, Ice Beam for coverage, it's got Scald for the burn, and where is it? Water Shuriken, which is just dumb. Nice priority water attack, hitting 2 to 5 times, 15 damage per. This move melts people. It really does, and having the priority on it is nothing but helpful. Physically, Greninja isn't super amazing, but still very viable. With things like Acrobatics is real. There is Gunk Shot's very good on Greninja. Protean Greninja. I haven't used Torrent, so I can't tell how useful Gunk Shot's still going to be. But there's still Ice Punch and Night Slash. Quick Attack if you want more priority that's not special water based, which I don't understand why. Shadow Sneak is there, and U-Turn, as well as Waterfall and Special. I don't know what this is. But, you know, we're going to use it one day. We're going to use Special one day. Anyway, that is the draft. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to enjoy this season because that's just stupid. We're getting ready for a week 1 match. It's going to be happening sometime this week. Don't look at that. That's stupid. Oh, I will see you guys then. I don't know what days I'm going to be uploading exactly, but I will be sure to let you know when we get the first one done. I still have to have the battle, you know. We're going to prep right after this. But until then, stay frosty.